As a man, we live in hyper-competitive environments. I don't think enough men understand how competitive the world is. If you want a girl, you're competing against other men. You're not the only man who had the idea of getting that girl. There's no girl you're going to see and go, I'll get that girl, and didn't cross anyone else's mind. Everybody else wants her. You have to outcompete other men. You have to be as competitive as possible. You have to be as successful as possible in all realms. You have to be as good looking, as funny, as smart, as spontaneous, as interesting, as charismatic, as rich as possible. You need to try very hard to be your absolute best. And as you become a better man, you'll crack through different tiers of attractiveness, and eventually you get to the top and you'll be able to have any girl you want. But the truth is, I have a lot of guys ask me, similar to your question, a guy will come to me and go, how do I get a girl? I'm like, bro, you're a loser. Yeah, but I know, but how do I get a girl? Well, you're a fucking loser. You're a loser. Why are you asking me? It's like saying, how do I win a race with a push bike? You're racing Ferraris. What do you want me to do? Yeah. There's only so much you can do. There's only so hard you can pedal. There's only so many tricks and tips. There's only so many game things you can say, so many pickup lines. If you're a loser, it's going to be very, very difficult, and it's going to get harder and harder. The game is rigged to become harder and harder for men. It's not getting easier. It's going the other way. And if you're going to be on a racetrack and there's going to be Ferraris there, and you're going to be on a pedal bike or in a Nissan, you're going to get smoked. That's the game. You have to up yourself. You have to improve yourself. I'm not going to lie to anybody here and say you don't have to improve yourself. You could stay a loser and get chicks, because you can't. Yeah. You can't. You must be the top 10%. Top 10 percentile, especially as a man. All the women want the top 10%. All the money goes to the top 10%. All the status goes to the top 10%. You cannot be a normal man anymore. When it comes to life, it's easy to keep winning. You have to keep the momentum up, right? It's hard to get going, but once you get going, you have to keep it up. So just make sure you never lose it. Don't fall off. Don't do anything stupid. It's pretty easy to win if you never lose, and you'll be fine. I start making a lot of money when I was maybe 27, 28. But my life was always on track, bro. I never had a big mistake. I never had a bad period and had to reform. I never made any large mistakes. I did the right thing every single day, day after day. I knew what I was supposed to do. I think the universe is very giving, and if you're the kind of person who turns up on time and works hard and does what they're supposed to do and is never lazy, then it's always going to give you what you want. I've yet to see somebody who tries their best to get something and genuinely gives it their all and doesn't get it. I've never seen it. So I think you can have anything you want in the world. It's just a matter of whether you truly want it or you want to say you want it. And also, I think it's player versus player out here in the world. Every dollar you want, every girl you want, every car you want, somebody else wants. And we're fortunate that a lot of people talk about wanting things, and I think a lot of people are brutally lazy. You can outwork 95% of people by just simply working harder. You'll have anything. The world is hyper competitive. If you're going to be a man who's going to sit and say, I'm just sad, you are always going to lose in competition to men like me. Yeah. And there has to be losers for there to be winners. I am tired of sympathy. Sympathy doesn't work for anybody. I'm not going to sit here and be sympathetic for people who say they're too sad to try hard and be their best. Guess what? Perhaps I was sad every time I did exactly what I was supposed to do and trained anyway. Perhaps I was afraid when I fought anyway. Perhaps I was tired when I worked anyway. This is how you get ahead in life. I don't have a fucking ounce of sympathy for these people who sit here and say, well, I feel this way, so I can't. Then don't do it. Stay down there. The winners are at the top, and the winners at the top don't give a shit about how they feel. We wake up and we perform regardless of how we feel day after day. So if I'm going to ignore my own feelings, I'm certainly not going to take into consideration anybody else's. Why am I going to ignore how I feel and make sure I'm constantly performing regardless, flawlessly, and then sit and go, oh, but he doesn't feel good, so he's allowed to fuck up. No, you are not. You're not allowed to fuck up to your ancestors or to God or to yourself. You have to perform. This is what being a man is about. The baseline of masculinity is doing things you don't feel like doing. I can't comment on being a woman because I'm not one. But the baseline of masculinity as a whole is the thing that makes a good man a man is that he does what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to work and he works anyway. He doesn't want to go to war and he fights anyway. He doesn't want to get up, he gets up anyway. That's the whole point of it. We didn't want to die in the Titanic. Guess what happened? We died in the Titanic. You can't sit there as a man and say you don't feel like it. You're not allowed to not feel like it. You're supposed to do it anyway, regardless. Yeah. So when a man sits there and says, oh, but you don't understand, I'm struggling with motivation. If you are struggling with the motivation to be a winner, then stay a loser. No problem. Stay a loser. Don't care. Because in my circle, there's no losers around me. Your energy is disgusting. I find it revolting. I don't like weakness around me, even near me. Even people coming up saying hello to me. If you're depressed, don't even shake my hand. I do not have time for losers on any regard. Winners only. But as a man, you must go through a process of discovering what is true and what is false about the world, and developing absolute and utter competency so you can outcompete other men. Don't you wake up and think, how do I become the best man on the planet? Don't you wake up and look at yourself deep in your own eyes in the mirror and say, how do I become the most fearsome competitor on the face of the planet? How do I become that guy nobody wants to compete against? I don't think anything good in life happens by accident. If you find a person who's in fantastic shape and you say to them, how did you get in such good shape? They very rarely say, oops, I don't know, it just came to me. They say, I had to get up and plan for it and train specifically and eat specifically and do specific things to end up looking this way. They had to try very hard for it. Don't say, oops, I just got rich, it was an accident, I don't know. You just said you're a normal man. Let me explain something. The normal man is not acceptable in this hyper-competitive world. Normal means in the middle. Middle is not good enough. You must be the top 10%. Top 10 percentile, especially as a man. All the women want the top 10%. All the money goes to the top 10%. All the status goes to the top 10%. You cannot be a normal man anymore. Perhaps 50, 60 years ago, you could be a normal man with a normal job, have a normal life, and a normal wife, and a normal house, and a normal car, and be happy. But the world we are now living in is proving that being a normal man is nothing more than slavery. They've just proven it to all of us. Listen to me carefully. They just proved it in the last 3 years of this imaginary fucking garbage they were fucking locking us all up for. Being a normal, law-abiding citizen with a normal income and a normal wage and one passport and a normal wife is going to leave you depressed. Sooner or later, it's going to leave you and you're going to end up fucking suicidal and miserable. Only men on this earth who are happy in the modern world of hyper-competitiveness, famous, rich, super important, tall, strong, fucking handsome, top G's, being a normal dude ain't going to cut it. You know the problem with being a normal dude? I'll tell you the problem. If you're a normal guy, your chick fucks normal guys. Guess what that means? It means everyone's competition. Don't focus on the girl, focus on yourself. If you're worried about the girl and not worried about yourself, you're gonna be wasting time and energy, right? It's easy. If you had to win a race, Abraham Lincoln said it. If I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend the first 5 hours sharpening my axe. It's the same with nearly everything in life. The better you become as a man, the easier everything else becomes. We're all on a continuous journey for self-improvement, and if you try your absolute best every single day, then you don't have to look at what's bad about yourself. It's not about where you currently are, it's about where you're headed. The path I'm headed on is the same path that I've always been headed on. I've never made any large mistakes in my life. I've never been the guy who was a drug addict and went to rehab, or the guy who was depressed and became better. I've always been the person who woke up every day, did what he was supposed to do, tried his hardest, was honest, never lied, was on time, worked hard, and got exactly where I wanted to be in life, and now the entire world is mine. I'm the most stupid person on the planet with hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm the top G. And the way I am headed, I'm going to do nothing but continue my ascent into absolute achievement. This is who I am as a person because of my daily habits. So I can sit and say, yeah, there's some areas of me I would like to improve, but I know that that's going to happen naturally during the course of my life because I don't take mistakes, I don't take days off, I don't lay in bed, I don't eat shit food, I don't do any of that crap. Every single day is a day where I become a tiny bit better. As that compounds across my life, I'm going to die as the greatest human, greatest individual to have ever lived on the planet. Relationships between people is always going to be a value exchange. There's no such thing, unless you're being used like a fool, of you having all the value and the people next to you having no value to add to your lives. Even the friends you talk to, they make you laugh, so they give you value, right? So by extension, how do you get good people around you?
How?
Think about it. It's a value exchange, right? You want to have good people around you. Every relationship in the world is built on an exchange of value. So how do you end up having good people around you? You have to be a good person. Good people have good people around you.
Yeah.
Bad people have
bad people around.
True or false?
Facts.
You look at a thief. Who are his friends? Thieves. Because he can't hang around with good people because he's stolen from them. So my circle is solid, and they are good, valuable assets to me because I am a good, valuable asset to them. The better a person you become, if you were to embark on this journey of self-discovery like we just described, you would start taking your life very seriously. There'd be people who would come into your life who would be new, and there'd be people who fall out of your life. Guess who's going to fall out of your life? The bad people. People who are wasting your time,
I agree with
wasting
that.
your life.
I agree with that.
And the people who would join into your life would be the people you're training with, people who want to climb Mount Everest with you, etc. The better you become as a person, the better your circle becomes. Which is why when people send me questions, and I get this a lot, hey Andrew, my friend did this to me, my friend stole my girl, some bullshit. Well, if you're hanging around with losers, guess what you are?
A loser.
A loser. If you're hanging around with snakes, guess what you are?
A snake.
A snake. There's no snakes in my circle, there's no losers in my circle. The best way to have a good circle is to be a good person. Life is very simple, and it will fix itself if you do the work.